All right. Good morning, everyone. Just so you know, this meeting will be recorded and put on the internet for no less than a year. Okay, Helen, do we have any minutes this morning?
No minutes, Mr.
No
Chairman.
minutes, okay. We'll jump right into Bear's report, I guess.
Okay. Good morning, gentlemen. Same kind of business as usual right now, still getting complaints on Corbin, of course. Dylan went up there this morning. There's a little bit of gravel come undone over the weekend, but it's holding up together really well. Pretty happy with.
A little rutted on the west end still. But
Yeah, there's some stuff that will need to be touched up at some point, but it was getting to a point where it was getting overworked. That it just wasn't wanting to do what we wanted to do. So, still a work in progress, but it is so far looking like a pretty good road. It was only one, but a pretty harsh complaint about our paint striping we did in Montana City area last week. Says it looks like the paint stripe per driver was drunk, that the road stripes aren't centered, and multiple complaints. But I walked every single one of the dots, or every one of our markers we put out, and measured the width of the road and put it right in the center. People don't understand on those paint trucks that a half inch of deviation in your road causes about an inch of deviation in your paint stripe. So when you're painting a bumpy rutted road, which most of ours are, you're not going to have a perfect stripe.
yeah,
But it looked really well. Highmark is one of the best in the state. I used to paint with the state, and it turned out really well, went really smooth. So and then potholes, of course, everywhere. We're getting them kind of taken care of as we can. We're still waiting on parts for the Durapatcher machine. We had to get them from back east or something to get that fixed. So hopefully parts should have been here the end of last week, and we get that going again this week. As far as crew updates, kind of wrapped up everything on the dust pods for the time being. So we'll kind of move on from that and get caught up on some other projects. Got Lump Gulch, the lower portion graded last week. He's gonna go hit that end of Old Alhambra to hopefully today or tomorrow. So we get that done. Went up Clancy Creek. There's a couple little like dust ripples, and they're not real washboards, but it's really not in bad shape. We've had a couple complaints on it, but it's one of those, I think right now, if we break it open, it's gonna get worse because it's not in bad shape.
Lump Gulch?
No, Clancy Creek.
Oh, Clancy Creek, okay.
Yeah. We're just working our way back north. We're gonna hit Hills Brothers, Ambush, Holmes Gulch, that dirt portion, and then McClellan Creek on the far end as well. Probably the entirety of McClellan Creek.
Are you watering it with dust pods, or are you just doing that? Or?
Kind of saving it for certain spots. I think Hills Brothers is one we're gonna try it out on, because it's more than just watering it. We got to do a little bit more of a process, and we're just trying to get caught up on a lot of other stuff right now.
Okay.
So
It's not something you just water the road when you're grading it.
no, you kind of got to mix it and blend it back and forth and get it rolling right away. And it's more than just a two-man project, like a normal grading operation.
Okay.
So it is something we're going to try to do, but we've got kind of behind. This
Yeah.
project took an extra week or so than we planned on. So
on Hills Brother.
yeah. So, one of those things is mowing that we got to get to before we start seeing snow fly. We got a water truck running with the mower. So I said, if we get any wind or red flags or anything, shut it down. But watering before and then having it standing on standby. So we're trying to be as cautious as we can.
That's great.
Boulder guys, we had a big cottonwood come down by the fairgrounds on Thursday. We got it pushed out of the way, but they're gonna try and get that tree hauled out of there today. That is a big chunk of cottonwood. So it's getting the loader over there. We got to run down and check on the beaver dam again. They had it pretty well plugged up again Thursday. So we're gonna run down after this meeting and go check that out. We get our grate down there to get it covered up and some other stuff. But then they got a bunch of little projects and signs we got to get replaced and just getting caught up. Whitehall is one where we really got to get caught up on, with Houston been on vacation for about a week and a half. We really haven't been doing much down there, so they're kind of going through, checking some signs, making sure we don't have trees down, looking for some high priority situations that we need to get addressed this week so we can get on top of some stuff down there. Back to the conversation we were having earlier on the Little Boulder Road. I did finally get an email. I talked to Jeremiah last week and he said he is talking to the engineer, but he just hadn't got an email out. But I got a response from their engineer today. He's had a lot of complaints and emails, so he's trying to get some sort of response put together, but essentially his response is that the project was finished. The goal was to restore access for high clearance vehicles. And that the picnic area at Elder Creek is still changing after the fire. The engineering district and watershed staff determined it was best to let it stabilize before attempting any rehab work. So.
That's interesting. You'd think they would unplug the plug that made the mess.
Yeah, so it was about an hour ago that I got that response from the engineer. That's why I want to get up there and get some pictures now that it's been a few weeks from what I originally had. And so we can say, look, this is what's happening, and this is why. I've had complaints from guys on dirt bikes that said they've wrecked going across these hard surface crossings that they supposedly put in, and it's starting to be a real issue that needs to get rectified. And I'm gonna throw out the fact that it's a county road. We should have been involved in the process.
Right.
And most of it seems like it stopped at Jerry Smith. They didn't continue up to Moose Creek.
Yeah, it's that last, I can't remember what the last crossing is, but I get confused on all the draw names up there.
Wilson Creek's gonna be the last one with the riprap in it, and then Jerry Smith still got his culvert in there.
Yeah, if they didn't have an issue with it prior or since the fire, they didn't pull them out.
I guess I misunderstood or something, but I thought they were going as far as Moose because of all the pothole, all that stuff. I mean, just since they had the dirt to push it.
No, they're not fixing the road to
Oh, not
make it a
fixing it,
smooth
no.
road. They were just fixing the washout areas is all they were fixing. So yeah, Wilson Creek was the last one. It looks like they did.
Right.
I got all marked on here.
Well, that was,
8 of them, not including the ones at the campground. There's 8.
oh, okay, yeah.
But that's pretty much where we're at. We're just trying to get caught up on our projects, trying to figure out some new, with the recent budget cuts, trying to figure out how we're gonna swing a few different things and where we're gonna focus our efforts, but that's kind of where we're at.
All right, gentlemen, you guys have anything for Bear?
Maybe just a quick discussion on Courtney Creek, how we could have done it different and avoided some of the animosity,
I
you know.
think the only thing.
We'd have held a meeting up front and told them what we were gonna do.
But I think
That's
that's
the
the
only
only
difference.
thing we could have done was have some sort of public notice to say,
That's right.
hey, we don't have money to do what we've been doing. We spent
That's exactly right.
$150,000 in 3 years on maintenance that wasn't holding.
Yeah, that's exactly what the conversation.
Yeah, we probably should have, in my mind, it was gonna be a better road than we started with. As far as smoothness and hardness, that was what we had in my mind, and it turned out.
Unless you drove an electric car, you know,
Yeah.
they're worried about gravel spraying on it, underneath, you know, but.
And I, in my mind, it wasn't gonna be gravel, it was gonna be more of a hard surface than what it turned out, and I think it's gonna get that way, I don't know, you swept it off, I don't know what it looks like now, but. I was up there Wednesday night, but I know you guys.
I think there's always gonna be a little spray.
There's always gonna be a little bit of loose grip. It's definitely better than it was middle of last week. Thursday, Friday, but that was a little bit more loose, you said this morning, but you're never gonna get every little rock to stay in place. It's just part of the
Right.
nature of a gravel road, but I mean, we've spent close to 5 times as much on asphalt for pothole repair on that road than we have on the.
We
rest of
couldn't,
the
we
roads
couldn't
in the county.
continue, we were repatching what we patched earlier in the spring, you know.
No, the road was destroyed, I mean, we had
The
to tear
road
it up
was gone.
regardless of what we did, and I think dust pods was a good first step, and if that doesn't work, we're gonna probably have to go to plan B. I mean, if it's not gonna be adequate for what we needed.
There was a continue just throwing money into that road, you know.
Yep, absolutely.
Let's see.
Are
what
you
it
gonna,
looks
you
like.
guys gonna try to smooth that out anymore? Are you kinda done with it for now, or?
I said, we're gonna let it sit for a little while so we can get caught up. It was getting overworked. It was just getting too much to where anything we tried to do was making it worse. We definitely learned some things in the process for next time, but it needs to sit, get some traffic on it, and then we can come back and hopefully get it reshaped one more time before the snow starts flying.
I think it's pretty
But
good.
it's definitely smoother than the road was before. I mean, I've drove it 100 times.
Will that help? I mean, because I saw what was going on, a lot of folks are saying about the dust, will that help improve as to the lack of dust after what you're saying?
It's
A little bit, not all, but some.
Thursday, when I drove that road, there was no dust.
I drove it 45 and there was no dust, made no way.
I think after they swept it, it helped a lot.
Yeah.
You get a bunch of cars driving, maybe it does, throw up a little smoke, but it's not real bad. Yeah, these ladies may have something to say, but.
Is there anybody online that would like to comment on, I'm assuming Corbin Road?
Sure. My name is Gina Davis. I live up on Alta, which is just in Meadowlark Ridge. Pretty, pretty disappointed with the road, and I can definitely disagree that there is a lot of dust. So just trying to be patient, and that's why I hopped on today, because I just wanted to get some more information. My husband said he did drive down towards Wicks. They went out shooting yesterday and said that section seemed really good. But that section from the turn at the dump all the way, past Meadowlark there is pretty bad. So, or I guess, where it creams off. So, but yeah, just trying to be patient. I appreciate you guys, and I appreciate Bear for giving all the information and whatnot. And yeah, just kind of waiting to see and where we're at and where we're going to go forward from here. So, but definitely dust.
Yeah.
And we're gonna keep an eye on it, because if, excuse me, if it does, and this is not a new product, it's being used in about just under half of the state now by counties, so it's a new to us product. And every material kind of has its own response to it, so we kind of adjust on the fly. Excuse me. So we're gonna watch it, and if it does, we get to where it's not a bearable amount that I know my definition of bearable and your folks' definition of a bearable amount of dust is gonna be a little different, but we're gonna monitor it. If it gets bad, we've got some treatments we can do to help kind of rejuvenate some of that to help hold the dust. We're not just driving away and forgetting about it and say you're gonna have to deal with it. It's a situation we're gonna closely monitor, because we didn't know how this is gonna work for the future use. And we do care. We have to find other ways to do what we've been doing because of the restrictions we're under now, but.
Sure. I guess I would reiterate too that the dust really doesn't bother either of the drivers in my house. We have 3 or 4 drivers now, but it would probably be, if I had to pick something, would be the condition of it, just the rutting. And I did listen to your meeting before, and you were saying, if people didn't drive kind of in the tire tracks there. So I've been kind of trying to drive in the middle and try to back it down. But I'm just one car. So, but yeah, I guess, if to go back in time and look at this, I would take those potholes over what we have now. Which again, just trying to be patient with you guys. And I know that, like you were saying, you driven on this stuff like in Park County or somewhere. I don't know if that's accurate, but what you said, but yeah. So I mean, if the end result is, maybe chip seal down the road and a firmer pack down, what I was really hoping was that it was going to be great and we could use it for our roads up in Meadowlark, because if you've driven those, our road's pretty bad. So my hope was that, this would be a great product. But hey, maybe, 6 months down the road, it's going to be awesome. And it's something we can look at, for our roads that are deteriorating pretty fast from all that heavy equipment. So anyway, I just wanted to hop on this morning and, get more info, obviously. And yeah, so I appreciate it. Thank you.
We appreciate it, Gina, very much.
Of course.
Something else to kind of keep in mind, I mean, one, we're learning, but that road was, I know it's hard to see, but that road was failing at a increasingly rapid rate. Even if we were gonna reach chip seal, we would have had to grind and resurface that road.
Had to fix our base.
This would have been, this is still, we've discussed this in the past, that hopefully in the near future, we can find funding to go back on a better road and re-chip seal. I just can't guarantee that because none of us know what the future holds for budgets and resources. But this would have been the first step regardless of having to resurface that road because of the rutting and the sub-base issues. So we're hopeful, and we're, like I said, we're not gonna just walk away and say, have a nice day. We don't want a bad road.
Especially up there, we know we have a lot of nice houses up there, and most people moved up there or built up there, assuming it was gonna be a hard service road up to their residence, so. Yeah, we appreciate all your patience, and we're working on it. We're working on it in stages, and hopefully we'll have a better product than what we had this spring, so. Anybody else wanna comment? Kathleen, or?
Yeah, this is Kathleen Moffett. Can you guys hear me? Sorry.
We can.
Oh, okay. I also just want to reiterate, like, I'm on this call just for additional education. I also am willing to be patient and see kind of what comes of it. I know you guys did get some pretty harsh responses. I'm going to be totally honest. I don't necessarily feel like those represented our community totally, in how we all felt about it. So I'm just on here to learn more. I should have joined these a long time ago because I do feel like you glean a lot of really good information out of these meetings, and I probably will join a few in the future just to kind of hear what's going on. But I also realize that you guys know a lot about these roads and these products probably more than we do, and so we're just trusting that this kind of has a positive outcome in the end. And so thank you guys for everything that you do, and thank you for readdressing this.
Well, thank you.
Thanks, Kathleen.
Thank you.
Jessica, you're the last one on here. You need a comment for Corbin Road, or?
Yes, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
We can.
Hi, yeah, I am also up here in Meadowlark Ridge, and same, just kind of as Gina and Kathleen, just trying to keep myself educated and you know, just see exactly what's going on with it and if it's done. And, you know, I just want to keep you guys updated too, you know, like, to me, I feel that it's still very rough, and I just, you know, I just kind of wanted to make sure, like, what's the next steps? What are we doing? And I'm just trying to, you know, make sure that I keep myself educated, and, but also trying to remain patient and know that you guys are trying to work through it as well. So that's about it.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, appreciate that. And if you can spread word, we're working on it. It's not a final product. That would be great. All right, gentlemen, anything else for Bear?
No,
I don't
Mr.
think
Chair?
we've had anything.
no.
I had one guy say that Spring Street's pretty dusty, but I think that's just because.
Oh,
Well, I mean, we drove that a lot, like Thursday, we were over there working in the cemetery. I mean, I drive it at the speed limit and I don't see any dust. Maybe if I got magic tires, I don't know, but
Well, I think it's,
yeah.
if you're going down there at 60 miles an hour coming off that hill, which a lot of them do, I think it's throwing up dust.
And you will see a little bit.
speed limit's what, 25? isn't it?
Right.
It's 25 through there. I've done 25, 30 through there with.
I have
see
too.
a little puff come off the tires, but nothing that would be any of concern.
And that should improve, I think, as that fine
It
stuff goes
might.
away.
I think you're always gonna have, I mean, even like asphalt, you always get a little bit of drifting on the wearing surface. So you may always get a little bit of a puff of dust, but I don't think it's gonna be the dust clouds we had before.
I thought Spring Street was good from the beginning.
To me, Spring was one that, as bad as that road was, I mean, as bad as Corbin was, Spring was even worse. Cause half of it was dirt and half of it was chip seal, and it was falling apart and there was no drainage. And to me, that is a fantastic road right now. I was impressed, probably out of the whole thing, the biggest thing I was most excited about was Depot Road. Still have quite a bit of loose on the top, but that being decomposed granite past the cemetery, like, it is hard as a rock. I mean, you get a little bit of just loose sand granular on the top surface, but it's not very dusty. But generally, when we would grade Depot, that steep hill, within a week, it was washboarded out.
Okay.
And it's been 3-4 weeks now,
This whole
and it
road.
is solid.
Nice.
So I was very impressed with that. But
Back in Jefferson City, is it Jefferson Street, the one that goes up to Corbin Road?
yeah, from the corner there by,
Yeah,
I
can
can't remember, up to.
Can we
the
throw
dump.
something in that hole in the corner?
That's the state, isn't it?
That's a gray area.
Doesn't matter.
No, we've looked at it, we've done it, we have filled that. The problem is it just gets blown out because people keep cutting the corner and there's no drainage. so
Yeah, there's no,
It fills
no,
with water.
no way to hold the material, so.
Yeah, all that water runs down into that spot and it just turns into a mud hole and people cut the corner and drive through it and.
You have to move the
I
water.
can give a
to fix
prime
the
example
problem.
of what happens if you go into my driveway where I keep telling my wife to go around the puddle, but now I got a foot deep hole.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so we have, there's that corner and then there's one off of the frontage road onto Holmes Gulch that does similar. That we've filled them in numerous times and it just doesn't stay.
it disappears.
Yeah, short of concrete or something, I'm not sure what we're gonna do to get it to stay permanently, but we'll look at readdressing that next time we have some equipment in the area.
Yeah, okay. I know they'd ask, it'd be an easy thing to give them.
Yeah. I'm gonna see about stealing a couple of truckloads of millings from the city. I think we've earned a couple favors, and if I can throw a couple loads of millings, one in each, it might help be a little more long-term fix without wasting money on asphalt.
Can you put the millings in, then use your Durapatcher and seal it, or?
Potentially, yeah, my one concern with that. We build that radius out with millings and make it really nice, then they're just gonna cut the corner even more, and
Oh,
it's
yeah.
just gonna keep spreading.
Pushing the whole
So
cover out. yeah.
we've gotta kinda build up the radius, but make it part of the shoulder so it holds instead of building it out flat.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Always looking for new ideas, so if anybody has one, I'll listen to it, we'll try it.
No, you're doing fine.
You know, well, that's fine, but we're doing okay.
All right.
Okay, yeah, that's all I've really got. I'm gonna follow up on a bunch of stuff today. I've got a list of things I gotta catch up on and go through and.
So the guys up Cortland just pretty much say we're in a holding pattern right now to see what it's gonna do, let it sit for a bit.
We wanna let it live for a little bit, let it see some traffic, let it kind of
Settle in.
settle in before we go and, because. Once it gets settled in, we can go water the surface of that, just like we're blading a normal road and give it a good blade. But you may remember I mentioned early on, we were having a real battle with getting the moisture content right.
Mhm.
So we were dealing with a lot of soft spots next to dry spots, and that was creating mud holes that just every time the truck drove over, it would pump up. And
Mhm.
so we gotta let it just kind of sit and saturate and pound in, and then we can kind of go and hopefully reshape that a lot better.
Get the surface
Yeah,
smoothed out, yeah, that would be good, okay.
because it
It's
is,
setting up pretty good.
yeah, it's pretty hard. It's really good, but I want to make sure we're not making it worse.
Right,
So,
okay.
yeah.
You didn't change the speed limit, I see.
No, because we didn't have any 35-mile-an-hour signs to post up. I thought we had a couple, and apparently we've used them all, so I've got to put sign.
State's got a
orders
bunch of
together.
them sitting around, you can steal those.
Yeah, all over. Yeah, so we will address that. I mean, maybe we don't need to. I don't think it matters what speed limit I post on that road. It's not gonna change.
They're gonna drive it, they're gonna drive it.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, we deal with that down at the bottom where it's 25 and they're coming through at 40.
You know, and I'm driving a pickup too, you know, and I'm not
Right.
driving a passenger car, so it's a little tougher than a passenger car.
Yeah, it is, and it's,
A little noisier.
yeah, I can tell you, if they all drove trucks like mine, that'd be a fantastic road.
Yeah.
So truck smooth, but
Yeah, it's probably one of the nicest, what you call it, gravel roads in the county right now.
that, I can guarantee that.
Oh, it's a nice road.
Mhm.
Yeah. It definitely needs work. I mean, I'm not gonna deny that, but as far as there's not many gravel roads in our county that I would go hop on and say I can drive 65 down this road and not be worried about it.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully it settles in and we'll keep these guys posted on what's going on. We should hopefully get a good product out of it.
Yeah,
Were you on that fire that was right at the end of the road?
that was us.
Well, that was you guys.
He was right there with his water truck, thank goodness.
We were first on scene.
Wow.
Fortunately, we were able to get, so we were coming back from Helena. We took our trucks up to the state auction Thursday and we was just getting off the off ramp there at Jefferson City when I got the pager on my phone for the fire department. We have a group chat thing for our fire department. Everybody's wondering why they're calling us, and Jeff City's not going. This is nobody's available, and was like, well, let's go grab that water truck and just see if we can get to it. We were able to drive up to it, turn the side sprayer on, and we're able to knock those flames down and back quite a bit, because it was about ready to hit the grass that went right to the guy's deck. So we
You
were
can
able
see
to-
him back in the trees, but yeah.
yeah, we were able to keep it under control until the departments got there, and once all the fire departments got there, it was, man, there was probably 30 rigs up there, and they had it going pretty good. That helicopter only had to fly from here to the elementary school the way to get water, so it was just.
Yeah, he
one
was on the
circle
ground,
and-
he was on the ground when I was out there, so.
Oh. Yeah, they got on it pretty quick, and they were out of there and clear by 6 o'clock, I think they said, so it was a pretty quick response, good response.
Did-
I'm
I
glad
figured
we
it
were-
was fireworks or something, huh?
that's what I heard from the deputy when I was there, is that they had a report from one of the neighbors that they seen somebody lighting off aerial fireworks up above the next ridge. And the homeowner had stated he had heard what he thought to be gunshots, and even Kyle, who was up there working on the broom, said he thought he had heard gunshots, but he didn't think nothing of it. So unfortunately, that's what they think it was fireworks, but
That'll do it for
great
sure.
response by all the other agencies showing up. I mean, Bull Mountain was there within 45 minutes, I want to say, from when the pager went off, which is a good response.
That is really good.
So, but DNRC showed up with probably 10 rigs. And that,
10 rigs?
yeah,
Wow.
all pickups, but
Yeah, no water.
they had about a 30-man line crew walking
Yeah,
into that
no
fire.
water.
No water.
Dig a hole around it.
You know,
Maybe swing the-
ever the rancher, Ryan's first thought was to cut the fence and get the cows out of there, because Fadness has had a bunch of cattle in there that were trapped between the fence and the fire,
Hmm.
so he was able to cut them out. Yeah, it was a good
Leonard
response.
used-
Glad we
Leonard
were,
used to pasture right there too.
it was good that we were there and had a water truck sitting there with water in it and ready to go, and the guy that's knows how to drive it and be able to do that.
Crew with a bunch of swatters in their hands.
And that's why we put our guys through wildland training, is just so we're ready for that situation.
Good deal. Well, thank you, Bear.
Yeah, thank you, gentlemen. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too.